I want to talk about heavenly mates and heavenly spouse once more, but I'm really going to lay emphasis on heavenly spouse. Much later, I will talk about heavenly mate. Like I said before, in the spiritual realm, we had hierarchy of position. We were all powerful. We have spiritual powers, we have spiritual gifts, and they were really potent. In the hierarchy of position, we have 9 major classes. We have the Yalode, we have the Ashipa, we have the Jagun, we have the Eleko, um, we have the Bale, we have the Adetanyonyo and the likes. And then under each class, we have the subcategories. We have the subcategories, and they are so much. So that's actually not where I'm going to. So in the hierarchy of position, and because we had spiritual peers, spiritual groups that we formed, everyone have its or his or her own characteristics, power, functions, and they have their taboos. The potency of each person's power differs, and their taboos differ, their characteristics differ. This is because they were not the same. We were not the same. In that same hierarchy of position or the peer groups, that's where we have the spiritual spouse. Some were in relationship, some were about getting married, some were married without kids, some were married with numerous kids, some were married with just few kids, some were married with just one child. It all depends. But because we were inquisitive, we want to know what planet Earth is like, we decided to come see what planet Earth is like. And we told our mates, our heavenly mates, that they should get our backs. They should protect us. We made vows, we made promises that we could not remember, which is now affecting us because we forgot all that we said, all the promises we made. So I want to go into spiritual spouse now. Those that were married, or those in a serious relationship, or those about getting married, or those that were married with kids, their spiritual spouse differs, and some are very tough, some are nice, some are strict. It all depends. You see some people on earth, because of the spiritual spouse they have, they can't get married. Some are married, but they are going through hell. Some can't give birth. Some have kids, but things are not going well for them. Some, whenever they are in relationship, once the guy or the woman says, let's seal it, let's get married, a lot of things will go wrong. Some, by the time they just start the relationship, once they have sexual intercourse with their partner, they start looking older than their age. Their partner starts disliking them. Their partner starts to disgust them. This is not ordinary. A lot happens. Some even get to commit suicide because the spiritual spouse has warned them severally, but because they don't take it serious, it goes wrong. And some, because they know what to do, they knew what to do, they heed to advice, they did the appeasement and sacrifices, they are living happily. The spiritual spouse is backing them up because they settled. They didn't separate themselves from their spiritual spouse, because it's actually difficult. It's not possible to separate oneself with spiritual spouse, whether as a male or a female. So it now depends on the hierarchy of position the spiritual spouse falls in or you falls in, and the potency of each spiritual spouse power and gifts. So they use what they have spiritually to affect their partner, whether negatively or positively, on earth. Some people, they can communicate with their spiritual spouse. They see their spiritual spouse life when it comes to warn them, whether as a male or a female. Some, they dream having sexual intercourse with their partner. Some, they dream and the spiritual spouse warn them not to do so thing. If they do not heed to correction, if they do not take that warning, something negative might happen. So it differs. Everyone on earth have spiritual heavenly mates, but not everyone have heavenly spouse. Not everyone were married in the spiritual realm. Some were in relationship, some were not in relationship, some were about getting married, some were married without kids, some were married with kids. It all depends and it differs. We cannot take away heavenly mates away from our Ori, our destiny. Our Ori determines what will become on earth. So is our heavenly mates part of our existence. If you do not have peers in heaven, you will not have peers on earth. If you do not have groups in heaven, you won't have groups on earth. No one will associate with you on earth because that's the way it's been done spiritually. You should have peers. You should have people you associate with. You should have friends you interact with. You should have people you do things with. That's why you have people you associate and you do things with on earth. Things that can't be taken away from your existence, spiritually and physically, is your Ori, your Egbe, your Orisha. That's the guardian angel you came with. And consultation. And then knowing who you are, the things you should do, the things you should not be doing, your taboos. These things are very, very vital. I've said them before in my previous video. So heavenly spouse are very, very important in one's life. You need to know how to handle them so they don't ruin your life. You need to know how to interact with them, how to do the needful, how to settle, how to appease them so they don't ruin your life. A lot of people do not understand these things. They don't believe in it. I've heard of people going through so much. I've seen people that have experienced these things. And they will tell you. Some people, for no reason, they just start getting horny at midnight or whenever they are alone or at odd times. These are few symptoms that the heavenly spouse is around or something. Some, in their dream, they start having sexual intercourse. Some, for no reason, they get wet. So all of these things are very, very vital. Heavenly spouse are real. Same way heavenly mates are real. We have 9 major types or 9 major classes of heavenly mates. And then we have subcategories under each heavenly mate, which are numerous. We have the Iyalode, we have the Eleko, we have the Jagunjagun, we have the Ashipa, we have Baale, we have Olugbenro, we have Mumu, and the likes. And then we have subcategories in each one of them. So you need to know who you are, where you fall in, the characteristics, the traits you have, your do's and don'ts, because they can never be the same. Everyone have his or her own traits, characteristics, spiritual gifts, spiritual powers, and taboos. Once you can identify, once you know all of these things, it will help you on this earth. It will help you to be able to fulfill destiny. And not just knowing all these things, you need to know every other thing about your existence, your purpose, your mission, how to fulfill destiny, your life's blueprint.